The Mount Moon Review podcast, while a podcast about Pokemon, is not intended for children. You can expect some instances of adult humor, coarse language, and adult situations. Parental discretion is advised.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 29 of the Mount Moon Review podcast, the only podcast where Mewtwo strikes back only once. I am your host, the Razgrees, with my co-host, the Blue Duck Gold Duck, coming to you live on Facebook tonight, mostly because we just felt like it. So, how you been, Duck? And, let's see, Guangho Fat Choi.
What?
Happy New Year. Happy Lunar New Year.
Oh. Happy Lunar New Year to you.
I did. I actually did. For those of you that do know us and know me in particular, we do celebrate Lunar New Year in my home, and we spent the day handing out red envelopes. I don't give out money like is traditionally prescribed. We give out Chinese candies in red envelopes as our way to bring in luck for the new year. So that's what we do, and that's basically what I did this weekend. We were going to go down and do something in Oklahoma City, and then it just didn't happen. We're going to go to the Botanical Gardens next week for some lion dancers. But what have you been up to for the past week, buddy?
Got back into Monster Hunter.
What?
Monster Hunter World. It's I put a lot of hours in that when it came out, and jumping from PC to PS4 actually.
So, I've never played Monster Hunter. What's kind of the gist behind it?
Kind of like Pokemon, but you kill them.
Oh.
No, I'm just kidding. There's like there's monsters, right? Like giant dinosaurs or dragons or whatever, and then like you're in an open world environment, and you got to like find their footprints to hunt them down, and then fight them. And you can use anything from like a giant axe to like a long sword, or there's guns, like they're called bow guns.
Okay.
And you if you cut the monster's tail off, then the monster loses like its tail attack, and it's
so
pretty in depth.
You're telling me you played Monster Hunter, but I thought you played Temtem this week.
I also played Temtem when I could.
So I'm going to warn everybody right now. This is a very slow news week. It really is. So we're going to go over everything Pokemon and everything kind of related to Pokemon because we need content. So, Duck, why don't we just start and go straight down your list about what you have this week, and we'll just branch off from there and go down the Warren holes as we find them.
Okay.
So what do you got first for us?
All right, first is no VGC, video game or TCG news.
Well, no, we got a little bit of TCG. We got a little bit of TCG.
Bit. So there was a couple cards that were revealed for Japan's next set. So the set that we'll get in, what is that? Probably like May-ish.
Okay. Essentially, they're bringing back DCE, kinda.
But they're nerfing it.
Kinda.
So it's called Twin Energy. It's a special energy, and it provides 2 colorless energy. So that's 1 attachment, 2 colorless energy, or 2 energy. But if it's attached to a Pokemon V or a Pokemon GX,
so it is a GX too.
1 colorless energy.
So we is GX as well.
Just GX though, not EX. So basically, you can't use this to get extra energy on your tag teams to meet their requirements for their GX attacks.
Right. But if you're playing expanded...
If you're playing expanded, you can use it on EXs, which means you can play 4 DCE and 4 Twin Energies.
My lord.
Could you imagine if that worked for Zoroark GX? That would be stupid. Or Gardevoir GX.
Either one. I mean, we got a lot of time, and when that set comes out, there could easily be an errata just to to nerf that as well.
They might just ban this card.
They could ban it from expanded altogether.
I don't know if it's actually going to be that crazy unbalanced or not. You just you'd hit your Quakey Punch more often, or cards that whatever attacks require double colorless. It's easier to hit them if you have 8 double colorless in your deck.
Dude, I don't know. I mean, if someone playing a Zoroark deck, I mean, well, no, that's GX. I mean, what?
No, yeah,
you
can't.
It'd have to be a baby.
Zoroark. Yeah,
I never played the EX cards. I came along right as GX became a thing.
Most of them do require a type of energy.
But still, when you're looking into your deck and you have 4 DCE, it's still not a guarantee you're going to hit one every turn. But now that you're essentially going to have 8 in your deck, oh my lord, your chances have just doubled. But
right.
you're almost statistically you're almost guaranteed you're going to be able to get one in your turn as long as you have some kind of draw support going on. Which expanded is got enough draw support. It's got more draw support than you can shake a stick at. So the idea that you're not going to be able to get one out with 8 of them in your deck is just mathematically stupid.
Plus, there's supporters that search for special energy now.
So there you go. I mean, I almost have to think when this card hits, there's going to be an errata on it almost instantaneously when it comes to expanded.
It depends on how many Pokemon require the double colorless energy to attack. I don't think there's a lot that is just 2 colorless energy. But, if there's something that's benefits from the amount of energy that's attached to the Pokemon, then that's pretty big.
And okay, so it's not called double colorless energy. What is it called again?
It's called twin energy.
Yeah, I just it's going to be interesting to see, and I would be shocked if there wasn't some kind of rule change came out right before that card came out.
So another thing I noticed is they revealed Sandaconda V. It's not that crazy of a card. It's for 1 fighting. It does 30 damage. Attach a fighting energy from your discard to this Pokemon. Or for 2 fighting and a colorless, it does 220 and discard 2 energy from this Pokemon. So, that's kind of good. You can knock out some of the Pokemon V with 1 hit with that. Or, on turn 2, you can use that. You use the attack, now you have 2 energy, and then you attach your next turn. But almost every Pokemon has that one. Almost every Pokemon V revealed has that 1 energy attack requirement, and we thought that meant they were going to get to attack first, and they never added that rule. If you go first, you can attack on your first turn.
Well, now we got the
supporter rule.
We got the new supporter rule, and going first doesn't make sense anymore. I would never want to go first anymore.
I think, mark my words now, I'm making the prediction. Galarian Golduck is a psychic type.
Indeed.
That you will get to attack first when they rotate the tag teams.
Once tag teams go out, they'll change it back.
That you can attack on the first turn. You probably still won't get to play supporters on the first turn, but you'll get to attack.
Don't you think, though, it's a little... Do you think it would really be in Pokemon's best interest to make that drastic of a rule change?
It's not that drastic. They took that rule away when Black and White started.
They did. They took it away, but they just... The whole supporter on turn 2, that's pretty drastic. That changes the dynamic quite a bit. Now... Right. It was also a dramatic change when they took away turn 1 attacks. That was a game changer in of itself. And now you're advocating and predicting, rather, in your case, that they're going to bring back turn 1 attacks. That's going to be another dynamic shift in the way things are done. Why is it?
That's after 2 years of this format.
It is. But what makes you think it's going to be after tag teams rotate?
Because I think there's probably some combinations that make tag teams broken to be able to do. If you can go first, you don't need a supporter card to get full blitz off on Pikachu and Zekrom. Gardevoir is searching his deck for 2 energy, and attaching it to a Pokemon on the bench on turn 1 before your opponent has a chance to try to set up. So I think once Pikarom and Gardevoir Sylveon aren't a thing anymore, or things like that kind of threat level, if you can't use a GX attack on turn 1, then I think it's a little more balanced to be able to attack on turn 1. But I think tag teams make it so it doesn't work.
Well, and also tag teams, it's going to be extremely difficult to try to do a turn 1 attack because the energy required for almost all the tag teams is going to be almost impossibility to get what you need. Now there's a couple that have low energy costs, but there's not a whole lot of them.
Pikarom can do it without a supporter. That's a big one. I'm doing 150 and searching my deck for 3 energy on turn 1 before you play your supporter.
Yeah, I mean that could be pretty devastating.
That's the kind of thing. Like if you get Coco Prism Star and you get the Thunder Mountain, and it is rough. You usually don't get it, but if you do, then your opponent just basically loses the game.
Okay.
If they didn't have a basic, if they didn't have another Pokemon to take the hit.
Okay. I mean, I can see that. I just don't know if they'll do it.
There's just so many 1 energy help you set up attacks on all these Pokemon Vs. I think they're planning for the future.
And it seems like they are legit actually planning it like 2 years out. It seems like they have like a 2-year plan. And I think that I still say we're going to end up with a worldwide standard. That's coming. I just don't. It's got pushed back, or I don't think it got pushed back. I think they actually have a general plan for it. Just what we thought was going to happen. I'm still not coming off my prediction. It's gonna happen. It makes sense.
No, I agree. I definitely think it's happening as well. Eventually.
Yeah, and I think they're running like a 2-year plan. I mean, I would love to get somebody from Washington to actually sit down with us and talk and give us that, but they're never going to, because then the moment they put it on the record, then it's like, well, they say it's in stone now. They said it has to happen, and they can't adjust like they have that ability to do now.
Yeah,
but that is legitimately the only TCG news we have, and there is no VGC news this week, unless you have anything from Galar Beginnings, because I'll tell you right now, I didn't play in it.
Yeah, me neither. I was pretty busy all weekend. Yeah. I had family in town.
I at one point I actually decided I kind of like crashed out, and I just fell on the bed and was like, okay, I'm here now. And I reached over, my Switch was next to the bed, and I was like, oh right, that it's not worth it. And I just lay and I rolled over and took a nap. I just don't. I don't. The way that the online is done, I just don't dig on it. I want to do the tournament structure, and I thought about setting up and doing a tournament this weekend, but I don't know if I really feel like it because of I know I'm going out of town. I just don't know if it's going to be Saturday or Sunday yet, and I don't want to. Right. I don't want to make my plans here based on what I planned online because the weather affects my plans here.
Yeah.
So the TCG, VGC, our normal bread and butter. That's it this week. That's it. So I'm looking at your outline, and I guess we're going to talk about Pokemon Go.
Yep. So we haven't been talking about it for a while.
No, we haven't, because there usually isn't much to say about it.
Right. But this year, there's an event that just started. It's the Lunar New Year event, and
I told you it was relevant.
Yeah, I realized it was. So red Pokemon are going to appear more often in the wild. And not just regular red Pokemon, but Pokemon that are red as shinies, like shiny Gyarados and shiny Magmar.
That's cool.
Have increased chances of appearing in the wild. And they're also, this is like the debut for Darumaka, which I didn't know they didn't have all the Gen 5 Pokemon out yet.
Now they're being a little bit judicious about how they release those now, just so they can get more longevity out of it, since they're reaching the end of what they're going to have the access to.
I see.
But for those of you that aren't familiar with the lunar calendar and such, red is the color of luck. So red is always the color for Lunar New Year. Everything is red. This year is the year of the fire rat, and I'm
Cyndaquil?
shocked. What's that?
Cyndaquil?
Yes, Cyndaquil. No, I am shocked we didn't get like some kind of like special Pikachu for this one. I'm
Oh.
shocked. I'm shocked. We should have got,
Yeah, they could have like Pikachu with like a paper lantern hat.
or carrying a paper lantern or something. I mean, it could have.
Yeah.
I'm actually shocked. As many of the oddball Pikachu's as they've released, I'm actually shocked we didn't get one. Or maybe even an Eevee. I don't care. But yeah, I get the fire rat. Rat. So, continuing on.
And what
Continuing on with Pokemon Go is what I'm saying.
lucky gifts and lucky trades they have increased chances to happen, and they didn't even have that when I played, so I don't fully understand what lucky gifts and trades are.
They're very, very convoluted with very little reward. You can have lucky Pokemon. The lucky gifts, I'm not too up on. But I know that there's plenty of people that you'll see they'll get online and they'll try to coordinate because they've got the calculation down that if I traded this person after I drop this, it's gonna be lucky. There's a way to calculate whether it's gonna be lucky or not, and if it's lucky, it's increased chances of being.
Oh, they have better like IVs and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lame.
And then last of all is the first half of the year's first half of like the in real life events was announced, and I have the dates right here.
You're talking about Safari Zone, right?
Yeah. Oh, so one is the Taiwan Lantern Festival.
That's actually kind of cool.
It's in Taichung, Taiwan, and from February 6th to February 9th. Then there's the Pokemon Go Safari Zone in St. Louis, which I guess all these Safari Zones cost $12 for a ticket.
Yeah, it's a lot like they did with the Go Fest in Chicago, where they'll get the whole park rented out, and they'll have a geofence in there, and if you're within the geofence, the likelihood of catching or encountering rather certain things is extremely elevated, like extremely elevated. And there's also usually some typical like exclusive raids and stuff that go on.
So it says $12 for a ticket, and then $18 if you want early access.
Because they might run out of digital Pokemon.
Right. And they said they're limiting people to buying one ticket for like one ticket for one of the days, and it's first come first serve.
Well, the first time they did Go Fest, which I believe was in Chicago, they almost had some riots on their hands because they oversold the event. That was one big problem, and then the other problem is the software didn't work. I mean, they didn't. Whatever they tried to do to push it and put the geofence and everything like that, it didn't work. So they most of the time that people paid to attend this was non-productive. So,
and I'm sure there was a lot of people that traveled for this too.
There was a lot of people that traveled for it, and there actually was some lawsuits and there was some settlements where people were able to prove travel, and they were able to get reimbursements from that from Niantic. And I can see why they would want to try to limit their possibility of loss by by limiting your the amount of people that were there.
Yeah. That makes sense. So the Pokemon Go Safari Zones for the first half of the year are St. Louis, which St. Louis takes place from March 27th to March 29th. And then Pokemon Go Safari Zone Liverpool in United Kingdom is from April 17th to April 19th. And Pokemon Go Safari Zone Philadelphia is in from May 8th to May 10th.
So we're actually getting quite a few of them this year, and it's kind of a new thing to do them like this. So I'm glad they're seeing they're actually doing that kind of stuff, trying to keep the community alive. It seems like the Pokemon Go community is more or less pocketed. You'll have certain areas where it is like extremely strong player base, and other places where it doesn't exist. And I think that
You
comes
mean
down
places where there's Pokestops and places where
so
there
that's what I'm
aren't
getting to.
Pokestops?
There's they based all the Pokestops off of the game Ingress. So it basically says, well, where are the Ingress players at? Oh, that's what we're
Yeah.
going to do with the Pokestops. And the same thing for the stupid Harry Potter game, which died a flaming death. Is this still a thing? Because I played it for like all of a day and I got rid of it.
I was like, oh, cool. Wizards Unite. That sounds interesting to me. I bet me and my girlfriend could play that because she loves Harry Potter. And then I was like, oh, it's just Pokemon Go.
It was a Pokemon Go with drawing pictures. That was it, and it was very microtransaction-y. I think it's what they wanted Pokemon Go to be, but knew people would rebel if they tried. So they were trying to do it with another IP, but using the same data, which again, Pokemon Go is the Ingress data. Now,
Right.
they are coming out with ways, and there is a new form you can fill out to try to add Pokestops to your area. Now, it's going to have to be the area has to be some point of interest, like it was with Ingress. But it's a step in the right direction as far as I'm concerned, because back when I lived in Pennsylvania, right where we were at, the Pokemon Go community flourished. Now, you could also not go more than 10 steps without hitting a Pokestop. And that's not even a joke. When I got the Pokeball Plus, I literally would just set it in the dash of my car, and I would take one lap through town, and my bag would be full. I mean, it was ridiculous. Then down here where I'm at now, in Oklahoma, there's nothing. There's a couple stops in town, but really there's nothing. And there's a couple of diehard players. You'll see them on the local group pages, but they're putting together trips to cities so they can go play, and
Right.
that's just not worth it in my opinion, because it's a very casual game for me. And I know you don't play it at all.
Not really. Although I could go to this Philadelphia thing. Maybe
Maybe you should take a
hand
camera
out,
with you.
yeah, hand out flyers and stuff, or spread the word of this fine podcast.
This fine, illustrious podcast.
So in the logo, like the picture for this, I guess I could have sent this to you, but I didn't. They have Chinchou, Unknown, Duat, Kingler, Relicanth, and Dratini. I know Unknown is one of those region exclusives, right?
Yeah. I believe. I know that when I was at the World Championships, there was I got involved in Pokemon Go scavenger hunt, and one of the things you had to do was trade with somebody from over 5,000 kilometers. So I was actually standing in line to get into a side event, and there was a gentleman and his son standing in front of me, obviously Japanese, and he pulled out his phone and started playing Pokemon Go. I'm like, whoa, no, you stop right there. And we couldn't. He didn't speak a lick of English, and I didn't speak a lick of Japanese. But we figured, using hand motions, we figured out I got to express what I wanted. So I just handed him my phone and said, just pick something. And
What hand motion did you use for Unknown?
Well, I just handed him my phone and said, is there anything, what do you need? And I'm trying what do you want?
Ah,
And he handed me his phone, and he had a bunch of unknowns. I'm like, any of these, any of them. So that's how I got my Unknown. Was just from that Japanese player, and he's actually, we're still friends on Pokemon Go. Every time I get on Pokemon Go, we end up sending each other gifts, and I know he's from Tokyo because that's where the gifts are always coming from.
that's awesome.
Anyway, but Pokemon Go, I'm never gonna get rid of it. It's always gonna be on my phone. I wish they'd bring back the Adventure Sync proper so I could actually continue to do stuff where I'm at, but until they come up with a more, I don't know, automated way to add Pokestops in, or a more reliable way so that dedicated players can do it, It's going to be in pockets.
Yeah, that's how I feel. I feel discriminated against in the area where I live.
And you don't live in Timbuktu.
No.
I know I don't give out too much of that, but
Yeah.
you are not far. You're not far away from a couple major metropolitans. I mean, where you're at is pretty. If you want to live in the country, but still have access to all the creature comforts of a city, you're in a pretty good spot.
The only creatures you don't get comforts to is the Pokemon.
Exactly. None of those pocket creatures.
Right.
Okay, so anything else on the Pokemon Go front?
That's it. There was a Latios and Latias, like they could appear in raids, but that ended today. So
there's no point in talking about it, really.
yeah,
So Pokemon Masters, there's a new patch.
yeah. There's a new patch, and it made the EX challenges easier. And I don't know how many people actually made it to those EX challenges, but I could only beat like 2 of them, and there's like 18 of them.
Wow, you
And
only
so,
beat
like,
2?
Yeah.
You.
So
The Blue Duck Gold Duck only beat 2.
yeah, that's what the post game challenge was. I was like, you're not meant to beat this with the amount of content they have out right now. Like there was no way to power up your Pokemon strong enough to do that without making some of your like 3 stars 5 stars, and that was impossible at the time.
So do you think this is a way of them trying to rejuvenate the player base, or is it just?
I think that might be part of it. They were like, "Oh, look, hardly anybody has done this." I went, "Well, why has nobody done this?" "Oh, we made it too hard."
Yeah, they realize
sure
that
there's somebody
unless
that-
I drop $100 on this,
Right. I'm sure there's somebody that could crack the game and beat anything through some broken method, but I don't know. I didn't like follow the game enough to see if anybody had actually beaten this stuff.
interesting. I mean, I kind of fell off of Masters pretty quick, and
Yeah.
you were like, die hard, but then just stopped.
I just ran out of stuff to do.
Yeah.
Eventually, just racking up the same resource over and over and over again stops being rewarding.
Yeah, I mean, it gets very repetitive. But a lot of games are like that. Pokemon is a repetitive game. Let's just face reality. It's a very repetitive game while you're grinding.
But it continues to be rewarding though.
It does.
That's the difference. It's rewarding when I hatch that perfect IV Pokemon. It's rewarding when I get it to level 100. It's rewarding when when I stumble across a shiny. There's a very good gameplay loop in the regular Pokemon games that keeps people playing, but not, Masters there wasn't anything special to get. There wasn't any like, ooh, look how lucky you got.
Yeah, it was a slot machine. Pokemon Masters is by
much.
default a slot machine, and it's one you actually have to feed money into if you're going to continue to do it. And I'm not willing to do that for a game that's not that fun.
Yeah, I'm gonna let content rack up, and then probably play through all of it in a day.
Yeah.
Twice.
So we also got evolutions.
Yeah, so I didn't look too deep into this, but the Leaf, which is the player character that was a female in Leaf Green.
No.
Well, I mean, I didn't know when they said Leaf. I didn't know who Leaf was. But she is paired with an Eevee. And on the logo screen they used to reveal that this event was happening, they had all the evolutions on it. So I think you get a choice when you evolve it. But I'm not loading up the app to check, so.
That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
I'm actually still shocked. Like, we did not get a new evolution with Sword and Shield.
Yeah, it seemed like we were getting one every even generation, and we didn't this time.
Well, especially when there's a whole island of just stones.
Right.
And a random evolution right at the beginning of it. I mean, it seems like it was just like made for it. But, it is what it is. I'm actually not too butthurt over it because, I mean, how many can you actually have? You know what I mean?
You can have 19.
Thanks, Duck.
I think it's 18.
But that's it for Masters too. I mean, Go, Masters, VGT, TCG. There's no new product coming out that I know of. Besides, they are coming out with some new tins. The little mini tins are coming out, but I'll never buy them anyway because the cards in there are usually half destroyed because of the corners. For some reason, those little tins are, they're only a little bit bigger than the packs, but they're rounded on the sides, and it ends up dinging up the cards. So I'm not interested in those in the least. Some people might be, and if you're a collector, I'm sure that that they strike your fancy, but not mine. So let's move on from Pokemon to Pokemon Lite. Pokemon with microtransactions. Give us your unadulterated and unbiased review of Temtem.
So I purchased Temtem right as it came out.
Were you a backer? Were you a backer for it, or you just got it?
I tried to actually. I was in a time when I didn't have the extra money to back it, and when I did, I went to look, and it had just ended. So I would have backed it though.
No backer bonuses for you.
Nope.
What were the backer bonuses?
I know there was a lot. There was like you get all 3 starters at the beginning for one. There was like you get shiny starters. There's shinies in there, by the way.
So you're talking about there's 3 starters. There's shinies. Go on.
Well, they're called Illume.
Illume.
Yeah.
It's not a Pikachu. It's a Zupatru.
And then for the people that donated like a crazy amount got to design one of the Temtem, and they got to get a statue of them like with their name on it somewhere in the game.
For crazy money.
For crazy money. Like, I can't believe you just donated that money. I hope it works out.
So, just a brief overview of what Temtem is. It essentially is an MMORPG that is Pokemon without being Pokemon.
It's Pokemon inspired.
Yeah, pretty much. And when I say inspired, I mean a direct ripoff.
Right.
So give us, what was your opinion? Because you only played about 3 hours, you said?
Yeah, it was about 3.5 hours or so.
So
I'm basically to the point where I could battle the first gym if I want to.
So we have gyms too.
It's not called a gym; it's a dojo. But there's 8 of them.
Oh my lord!
There's 8 of them. So
how do you catch your Temtems? Would you put them in a Tem ball,
or
is it a Tem cube?
It's called a Tem card.
Okay. So it's Digimon now.
No. Well, it's actually kind of like a hybrid of Pokemon and some of the more recent Digimon World games.
Okay.
I can feel a little bit of both in there.
So how does the game start?
The game starts, you wake up in your room, you talk to your mom, and you go to the laboratory to pick one of 3 Temtem.
No. Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about Pokemon. I was going to correct you and say, no, we're talking about Temtem. But
nope.
Go on.
Then you pick your Temtem and you battle your rival, who has a Temtem that's strong against yours. But it's not one of the starters. They already had their Temtem to start out with. And then you lose that battle. Like, it just one-shots you.
No.
So there's no surviving that battle. It's not like you usually beat your rival in the beginning of the Pokemon games. It's just like one shot and you're done.
One and done. Okay.
Yeah. So you're meant to lose that one. And then I hope you didn't do a Nuzlocke.
Oh yeah, you're done.
And then then you're off on your adventure to go challenge the dojos and become the greatest Temtem trainer.
Like no one ever was, except for that one guy that one time.
Yeah.
So did you I know right now they're not really pushing the microtransaction. They're just trying to really get the game out there. Do you see where they're going to be adding them in?
So I did get to a place where you could buy clothes. And the clothes were actually cost the same currency as you get when you like beat a trainer.
Okay.
And then but it cost like 4 million. And I had like 4,000.
Ouch. So I kind of looked at some of the oh, I don't know, clothes and items. And it honestly, it looks like Roblox. It looks like oh, you see a character with wings and a Sephiroth sword
Oh, you mean in the trailer?
yeah, yeah, and it just reminded me a lot of when my kids play Roblox, and
Haven't seen any of that stuff.
well, I imagine it's going to be, for people to actually fork out the cash because they're going to have the most extravagantly odd and bizarre looking player. I mean,
Right.
what's a Temtem player called? They're not a trainer, are they?
A tamer.
A tamer. Oh my lord. So yeah, but in like Roblox, for example, it's a free game, and people pay obscene amount of some money for aesthetic changes. Do you see with Temtem, are they going to just keep it to the aesthetics, or is there going to be gameplay modifications?
They said they're not going to add any gameplay. They're not going to monetize any gameplay modifications. So like this game will never be pay to win.
But it is pay to play. It's
No,
not. It's
well-
not. It's not a free game. You do have to purchase the game.
Yeah.
Well,
That's
a lot of the models that use microtransactions are free to play.
right.
And if they're actually monetizing the sale of the game, that means they don't have to do as much on the microtransactions, provided
Right.
they're not greedy bastards. But it's actually reassuring to me that they're actually selling the game, as long as it doesn't get a cease and desist.
They said they shouldn't. They're not using any assets.
Yeah, as long as there's no assets, no names, even though
Right. Right.
we all know what it is. They're not really being shy about it. It does seem like it might toe the line of intellectual property.
I don't think they can. Like it's not any more than like. Isn't the Dragon Quest games kind of like Pokemon?
No.
The Dragon Quest came out like way before Pokemon. Pokemon just did it better.
But at the same time, how many Pokemon games are we up to now on the VGC side?
Like there's 8 generations, say about 3 to 4 games per generation, so
Yeah.
almost 30 games.
Every single one of those games has you wake up in your room, go talk to your mom, because there's only ever single moms. There's never a damn father around anywhere.
In Gen 3, you had your father around.
Kinda. Then you go to the professor's laboratory, and you have a choice of 3, and then there's 8 gyms.
Yeah, but those are fire, water, and grass. You can't. It's not crystal, mental, or melee, like in this game.
You're digging your own hole, Doc. This it very much is. I'm look at me. I'm blue duck, green duck, blue duck, green duck. Yeah, I'm not the same guy. And it is. Everyone knows what this is. I mean, we're talking about it on the Pokemon podcast,
Right.
for Christ's
It's
sakes.
called a Pokemon clone.
It is.
That's like the genre you'd assign to it.
But my point is, it's not the physical assets. But that would be like me writing a book about a young boy that lives under the stairs, that has a scar on his forehead shaped like a Pokeball. And he goes to, Magwart's school for sorcery and magic. And he's got an owl named Hornwig.
Okay, but that's like saying you can't make the movie Avatar because the movie Pocahontas exists,
I say you can't make the movie Avatar because it sucked.
and it was Pocahontas.
And that movie sucked too. But yeah, you're right. It was freaking Pocahontas.
Pocahontas was pretty good.
But then again, if we're gonna go down that rabbit hole, let's talk about the
We don't
lion.
need to go down that
Let's
rabbit
talk
hole.
about the Lion King and Kimba the White Lion, shall we?
I used to have a DVD with some episodes of Kimba the White Lion, and I thought they copied Lion King, but Kimba's way older.
Way older. And I want to know who thought naming the bad guy Scar was such a good idea. Now, was he named Scar before he got the scar, or was
That's
he?
what I'm saying.
or
I've
did-
always wondered that.
Was he just very unfortunate with a self-fulfilling prophecy? I mean,
Right?
anyway, but no. What my point is, it toes the line of just being a straight up theft. Now, Has Pokemon gone after them? No. Is there a possibility they could? They might. Nintendo likes to really vigorously protect its IPs. Now, will they win? I don't know. It's bizarre. I mean, this would take a room full of lawyers on both sides to figure out. And at the same time, I have not ever heard of Game Freak, Nintendo, or Pokemon taking action against Poke1. Now, they've gone to great lengths to hide themselves.
Right.
And
Pokemon is like using all their assets
it's a theft.
Using microtransactions.
It's
Pokemon is pay to win.
Pokemon is theft. Now, your Poke1 is installed on this very computer right now.
It's on mine too.
I've played it. I don't do it very often. I just did it because it was fun and I did it for stream, and I didn't really do a whole lot of progression with it. Somebody gave me some cool stuff for it, and I played with it for a little while and said, okay, this is not my really cup of tea, and I'm done with it. But this game, Temtem, I mean, I'm not really interested in getting it right now. I'm kind of curious to see where it goes and how it progresses, because having Pokemon in an MMORPG is really appealing. It's an appealing idea.
Well, let me just strike it down right now, because I forgot to put this in the outline, but it's not any more MMO than the Wild Area is.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah, there's 0% chance that those players I'm seeing is real time. They're running forward, they're standing still for a while. Sometimes they're just running straight into a wall, and then they just disappear.
I'm sad now.
It could be server issues. That could be somebody lagging in a server or something, and then they log out. But
it's possible, because I was watching their Twitter feed, and they were doing a lot of hot fixes.
Yeah, and I know there's a way to. I think you can like pair up with players to some kind of co-op. So when you're doing that, that's probably real time. But I don't think when you're running around the overworld, you're actually seeing or chatting with anybody live. And that could just be for the early access part. They might make it better than that later, but right now it looks like just like the Wild Area.
Okay. Yeah, the Wild Area is really okay. I like the Wild Area
lag.
In that it's, a big open expanse, and you're not limited to going up this path and just don't make eye contact. That I like the Wild Area for what it is. My one and only real complaint is I'm seeing these players just run by. Essentially, it's just they're on a rail and they are copies of something that another player did actually create, and they're just using that as a stand-in for an NPC.
Right.
And you're saying that's also what Temtem's appears to be doing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure. There's no like chatting. Like there's a chat, like like any MMO has, but like I'm not seeing people's word bubbles pop up above their head or anything like that.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, we'll keep an eye on it, and we'll report back on more Temtem news as it comes out. But I think that is all we have this week. Do you have anything going on in the world of Pokemon for you?
Mewtwo Strikes Back is going to be on Netflix. I've been waiting for this movie to be announced for when it's going to be in theaters.
It's Mewtwo Strikes Back Evolutions.
Right. It's Mewtwo Strikes Back. It's a 3D CGI.
Well, it's not 3D. It's
3D character models.
Yeah,
not
they're using
like
CG.
3D. It's not popping out of the screen, but it's like CGI. Like remake of the Pokemon, the first movie, when I think it's different right at the end.
Oh, really? They changed the ending?
I think so. It's not like a frame by frame and rendition. There's like a lot of information that the Pokemon they assumed you knew in Pokemon the first movie. So there's some like in the beginning it's different to kind of explain the way things are a little bit better than the old movie did. Because people didn't just go from watching Indigo, leak anime to watching this movie. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it absolutely does.
Yeah, so it's written better.
It does actually sound like a lot of the voices might be the same. I'm not sure if they use the same original audio files for it, or if they re-recorded it. I don't know. I guess we'll find out because it's going to be on Netflix, folks. If you got a Netflix account, take a look at it. Or if you get
February 27th.
Or if you have somebody else's Netflix account, take a look at it.
Yeah.
So, okay. Are you doing anything like leagues or anything going up? Any tournaments you want to pop?
I have my pre-release on Wednesday.
And that's
6:30 EST at All Fun and Games in Chambersburg.
That's in Chambersburg, Pennsylvania.
Yep.
I also the league that I started and is now run by somebody else. They're in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. Is going to be doing a weekly tournament now, similar to what you did at yours on Monday nights. So
I still do that.
Yeah, well, I'm saying Gettysburg's doing it now too.
Yeah.
So check that out. They're doing prize outs for all that, and that's going to be at Four Corners Comics and Games. Take a look at it, see what you like. It's a good store. I kind of wish I still had the opportunity to go there and do that kind of thing, but it is what it is. On that front, I was possibly going to start another league down here in the form of a club league, but that's not a thing anymore.
Oh.
Now you have to be associated with a storefront. So if there is no storefront that sells Pokemon product, you're not getting a league. And it's a real shame because every time I go to the Walmart in this town, because that is all we have is a bloody Walmart, the proverbial Pokemon aisle right there by the registers is always full. People are always in there buying stuff. So the product's out there here, and my understanding, people are driving up an hour or more to Tulsa to play in leagues, and it's like, well, there's plenty of space around here. I wish Pokemon would consider bringing back the club leagues for the places that are underserved and don't have storefronts, because there is no storefronts around here. The closest storefront is like 78 miles away, and I'm not willing to drive that far for a league.
Guess you gotta open up your own store.
You need to bite me. Not a snowball's chance in hell would I open up a store here. Just I don't think there's enough to serve it, and I don't want the headache, and I'd prefer just to have someone write me a paycheck than as me try to calculate my own.
Call it Mount Moon.
Because that wouldn't be an IP ripoff. Come on.
The Mount Moon Review Store.
Are you tired? Because you seem tired.
A little bit.
Right on. Okay, so folks, once again, I am the Razgrease. You can find me on Twitter, on Twitch, on Facebook at _Razgrease01. You can find us on Facebook together at Mount Moon Podcast. You can find Duck on Twitter at Blue Duck Gold Duck. That is Blue Duck Gold Duck without the E. Now, Duck, the big question on everybody's mind: did you get a capture card?
No.
Boo! We thought for sure you were
so.
getting one the other day.
Me too.
Grandma didn't pull through.
No, she pulled through.
Oh, you can tell me
got
about
a new
that.
drill set and a new toolbox, which is also really useful
And helpful.
and more expensive than a capture card.
It really is. I'll be back on Twitch hopefully this week. Gonna be branching out, not just doing Pokemon. I got some other things in mind, and we do have another podcast that we are formulating right now. That's not gonna be Pokemon. I'll leave it at that. We are expanding our empire so that the network of Duck and Raz will continue to be prolific across the interwebs. That being said, I will see you all next week on the Mount Moon Review podcast, each and every Monday night at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. If you join our Discord or our Facebook, we will make posts as to where it's going to be. It's typically on our Twitch channel, but it was on Facebook this week for various reasons, and I'm not going to have time to go into that. All being said, Duck, get us out of here.
All right, everybody. Until next time, just remember, if it's too good to be blue, it's probably gold.
Have a week.
Just because your card is magic, you think you're safe because you killed my life orb. Baby, do you dare to not flinch? Cause I'm coming at you like a dark pulse. I know you're gonna throw. You're gonna throw a storm. But I got that lucky chair. There's no critical hits.